Hello everybody, it's Glass Half Dead here, and yes, things are looking a little bit different in today's video because, I had the option to do that. And I thought, maybe Christmas, we've got a tree. Whilst I've got a tree, why not put out some miniatures to show that I do actually play the game? Some of you might remember that. Maybe not. So not only do you get a visual treat of a lovely brick wall right behind me, beautiful, but you also get a hello, and if you're a subscriber, a big double hello. What does double hello mean? Nobody truly knows. What is this video about? Well, I'm going to tell you the top 5 reasons to play Kill Team. Now, of course, there are many reasons, but just the top 5, and these are also 5 that I don't believe are going to change. Whether a new edition is coming or just a big rules change, who knows what it might be. And I'm ordering these top to bottom, so the number 1 reason for me might not be the number 1 reason for you, but let's find out. And if you want to cheat and just see what the 5 things are, check the search bar below because I'll have titled everything. My personal number 1 reason that Kill Team is better than 40k 9th edition is it's faster. I value how fast a game is to play so much. It's crazy. It's almost like I don't want to play the game. That's how it seems with how much I value being able to play the game quickly, okay? But to me, being able to fit a game in under an hour is so valuable. You can play the game on your lunch break at work. You can play a 32-man tournament in a day. But if you're looking at 9th edition, that 1 hour lunch break, you're going to need like 3 of them to finish a game. You're going to need a weekend to finish a 4-round tournament, unlike Kill Team, which can do the full 5 rounds. And I'm just, guys, I can't. Okay, so one of my favourite teams, which I actually have right here, are Grey Knights. The reason I love them is because they are an elite team, and I know that at a tournament, I can finish my game in 45 minutes and still have like 15 minutes to chill out before I then get the 15-minute break that everybody else gets. That is so important to me. Like Tau, I love them, but you have quite a lot of models to move. Same for Imperial Guard. Admech, they require a lot of thinking. You can't just run in. Thousand Suns over here, kind of the same issue. They do have some big models, but you have so many Zangors to move, and if you screw up with the Zangors, T4, 5 up invuln, that can still be melted. Tyrannies, obviously, they're just a swarm. Genuinely, I think that the speed in which you can play Kill Team is good for the casual player. You get those lunch break games, and it's also really great for the competitive player. You get a full tournament in a day. It's amazing. Like, I value it so highly. That's why it is my absolute number 1 first thing I have to mention. The number 2 reason is alternate activations. Now look, some people like them, some people don't. It's obviously all personal taste. But to my mind, alternate activations might as well just be called how bored you are. Okay? Like, alternate activations keep you in the game. I've been playing a lot of 40k 9th edition recently, on TTS and also in person. And when it's not my turn, I start questioning life, and it's so, like, all you're doing is removing your models from the board, and it's like, this isn't fun, this isn't engaging. Like, you could replace me with an automatic dice roller when it's not my turn. In Kill Team, that's not the problem. I heavily gravitate towards games where there's that constant back and forth. I kind of accept that 40k doesn't want to do that for, kind of valid reasons, but, oh god, I don't like it. I accept that Games Workshop doesn't want to do it because it's such a big change to their big IP that makes them all of their money, so if it's not broken, why change it? But you can look at like Star Wars Legion, it's just better. It's just better. It's more engaging. I would say it probably slows the game down a little bit, so again, I understand why, but from an actual enjoyment factor, alternate activations are the way to go. Kill Team is a more balanced game than 40k 9th edition. Now, does balance really give you enjoyment and fun? I think some people like to phrase it that way, but I think that's just kind of a misphrasing. Suddenly for myself, if somebody comes to me and says, oh, Andy, this is a really balanced game. That's not going to make me buy and play the game, right? However, if I like the theme and I like the general mechanics of the game, then I want to know that it is balanced, right? So once I'm already invested in the game, then I want balance. Balance itself isn't a selling point, really. But when you're in it, and you're like, oh, I love my Grey Knights, or I love my Custodies, I love that small elite team, as I do. And somebody says, oh yeah, you can play them. There are rules for them. You're gonna lose every game you play though, because it's not a balanced game. Then suddenly I'm like, oh, well, you lured me in, and then you kind of killed it for me because there wasn't balance in what I liked. So I attached myself to a thing, then it's gone. And I kind of view 40k that way. I think we can all agree there are some things in 40k that you cannot play against other things. And fine, I guess. But as a new player, like, it just sucks so much. Like, there are genuinely things that do not have a chance against other things. And not even like, this is a hard counter. I'm okay with that. You know, if you accidentally take a hard counter into something, it's like, okay, 1 or 2, this is going to happen. But, that's a whole nother conversation about things being casually competitive that I want to talk about there. But long story short, Kill Team kind of doesn't have that. And I value that really highly. Anyone could bring almost any list against me, and it has a chance. Yes, there are some things that aren't going to work, but they're really very niche. And unless I, in return, am deliberately building my list to go against what I know they're bringing, they will have a chance. Might not be a great chance, but they do have it. And even so, a skilled player with that worse team can outplay a new player. Now, a little side point, how do they create the balance? Well, I think they've created the balance in Kill Team the best way they can, and that's with small point manipulations from Big 40k 9th edition, but also, and they've unfortunately, you know, because of what Kill Team is, which is an addendum to 40k, basically, they're stuck with core rules. They can't change core rules of 40k, at least in this edition. Obviously, things might change, but they can't change that. And so the way they have created balance is with small point tweaks, but also restriction. By saying, no, you cannot take a Riptide in Kill Team, because they could have done that. You know, they could have just said, hey, Kill Team is 40k, played at 150 points. Anything you can fit in there, you can play. But obviously, I assume at some point they sat down and said, okay, well, actually, at 100 points, you would then be able to take 4 Reaper jet bikes for Drukhari, and actually, because they're so fast and they don't really fit into the game otherwise, they break the game. And so they've restricted it. I'm totally okay with that. I really like it. I know I like to complain a lot, but I think Kill Team is a really well-balanced game, actually. Yes, there are a few janky things, but in general, great balance, full props to the designers, the playtesters, all of that stuff there. Also, in Kill Team, might sound a little bit odd, because I just said that it creates balance with restrictions, but my fourth point is the variety in Kill Team. Now, yes, you are limited, as just mentioned, but the variety comes in the fact that, look at this. Everything I have on the board here, this would be one 40k army, which would play one way and would do one thing. In here, I have elites, I have swarms, I have spam, I have psychic, I have, for the greater good shenanigans, I've got snipers, I've got camouflage, I've got crazy things here. I can do elites, I could do hordes, I can do a mix, I could go, do I want to play around with invuln saves on all of my army? Do I want to play around with gamble style on 6s, my weapons do things? And this is all still less than a full 40k army. This is amazing. I value this really highly. If I had been doing this for 40k, I would have gotten bored. Okay, I'm not kidding. I don't really like the hobby side of this game, like of this the hobby side of this hobby. I don't like painting, and so I would never get beyond a single army in 40k. That's just the way it is. I know that I would never get a second fully painted army on the board. In Kill Team, I've somehow managed to do it, and it feels really good. I look out upon the field before me, and I weep with joy. Yeah. And upstairs right now, I'm working on Sisters, Death Guard, Azayani, Drukhari I've already done, but I don't have here. And like, they're all, again, new different ways to play. It's so good. And the best part is just what I was saying earlier about how, the balance issue. You could create, for example, an Orc Dread Stomper war and realise that it doesn't work in the game because that's just not how things work, and find yourself having literally wasted 500 quid and however long it takes you to paint that. In Kill Team, I waste 25 quid and a couple of hours before I realise, that doesn't work. Okay, I'm moving on. It's even though you would still have a chance, as mentioned in the balance section there, it doesn't play the way you want it to. You haven't wasted nearly as much time. This is so good. I love smaller games. And the final fifth point is again very linked. I've driven you a narrative here. You might think these points are running into each other, but they're not. This game is just cheaper. Let's take my favourite team again, Grey Knights. 1 box, 10 Marines. You never need anything else. You are all in. You need a can of silver spray that you can get for a £5 from Halfords. You need a pot of Nuln oil. You can, if you were really going for it, you could probably do that without a brush. And you need what? The core rulebook. You are all in on Kill Team, 50 quid. Max. Probably less, because you're buying these 25% off. That is the kind of value that you struggle to find, that you cannot find, right? That you cannot find in any other miniatures game. I'm going to throw that out there as a bold statement that I instantly retract. Why would I say that? I don't know every game. But that's bordering on the kind of value that people expect to get from board games or from D&D, where you buy one book and that's you set for the next, 10 years, okay? There are ways to get into Kill Team that are simply unparalleled. Now, those of you that might look at this or have followed me and know that I don't really care that much about cost. I'm sadly an adult. I have disposable income. Most of it goes into Warhammer. That's on me. That's my bad. I don't care too much when it comes to cost, but I don't really care too much if I have to buy, a £200 kit, because that's how you get this new model, right? I think that's pretty scummy from GW, but whatever. I'll do it. I'm their whale. Why not? But the reason I value the cost and why it's made this list over any of the other advantages that I see in Kill Team is because not of the cost of a single box or a single unit that I would want to play, but because the cheapness isn't just for Grey Knights. The cheapness is across the whole game. The cheapness is for Imperial Guard or for Tyranids. Suddenly, again, it's very similar to the previous point about variety being the spice of life, or the spice of Kill Team, or the warp dust of Kill Team, I don't know. But I really value that it allows my ADHD to go from, I don't have that, by the way. That was very ableist language of me, I apologise. But it allows me to go, I'm on Grey Knights this week. Some you might have seen it, right? Over the past 2 years, 2.5 years, almost 3 years now, I might talk in one video about, I'm getting into Drukhari, I'm really excited for them. And then what I'll have done is I'll have built my team, I'll have gone out, I'll have played 3 games, and I'll come back and I'll say, okay, I'm done. I'm done with Drukhari now for the next 6 months. Because I'm moving on to Thousand Suns, or I'm moving on to Imperial Guard, or Tau, or Tyranids, or Admech, or Sisters, or whoever. And that is where I value the cost, because I can actually do that. 40k would bankrupt somebody like me. I couldn't handle that. Kill Team allows me to just play something and figure things out for myself. That's what I'm really doing here when I'm jumping from Grey Knights to Imperial Guard or whatever. I'm playing the Grey Knights, I'm thinking, oh, you know, I really like some bits here, but, you know, I don't like how elite they are. I want something that's a little bit more that isn't so reliant on, you know, 1 or 2 rolls and then they're dead. So let's try something else. And then I try the other thing and I say, oh, okay, that was interesting. It's interesting to see how what I thought was the problem here isn't the problem it turns out for me. And so while I liked something over here, let's try something else. I didn't like them because they weren't resilient enough. Let's try Death Guard. That is what I really like about Kill Team. And okay, everybody, it's getting a little bit dark here, so I'm actually going to stop the video now. This has been Glass Half Dead. If you've made it all the way to the end, those are my top 5 reasons that Kill Team is better than 40k 9th edition. Do you agree with me? Are there any things I missed out? What is your favourite aspect of Kill Team? I feel I hit the main ones, but maybe there's something that I just haven't thought about. I don't know. I do have a few more things, but you know, I haven't said everything. It wasn't a top 5 because I couldn't think of 6 is all I'm saying there. But if you've made it to the end of the video, you've had your first hello, you've had your double hello, now to triple hello. Thank you very much. Genuinely, people that make it to the end of my videos really do help the channel. I hope that you've enjoyed what I've said. This is obviously just a bit of a fluff piece, just me saying, hey, don't forget I like the game of Kill Team. It's Christmas. I thought, let's make something a bit more visually interesting for you. This is going to continue. Up next, I'm going to be doing a 2020 year in review for Kill Team. I think that's going to be, 2 seconds long? As I say, COVID, right? Oh, have I said COVID? That's going to get me demonetized. Whatever. And then I'm also doing my Grey Knight thing a little bit later. And there's also 1 or 2 others that I want to do before I strip this set down and go do something else back in my room. So thank you very much, everybody. This has been Glass Half Dead. I hope you have a good day, and I hope you continue to have a good day. Goodbye.